These are the 8-3 homework solutions. So looking at number 1, if you guys notice, I kind of, again, labeled the x1, y1 for all my coordinates. It just makes it easier for me when I do this. So I'm going to have distance is equal to the square root of, and I put the formula right on your guys' paper just so you can have it in front of you. So I would have, let's see, 2 minus 2 squared plus 5 minus a negative 1 squared. So that would give me 0 squared plus 6 squared, which is really just what 6 squared is, or 36, or 6. So then, sorry, for number 2, distance is equal to, I have negative 8 minus 10 squared plus 14 minus 14 squared, or negative 18 squared plus 0 squared. So this is still a positive number. You guys are going to notice if you accidentally type in a negative number without the parentheses, it will give you a negative answer under here. But when you try to take the radical, it'll say error, like you can't do it. It's because you cannot take the square root of a negative number. It actually gives you the imaginary field. Okay, so just make sure that it looks exactly like this when you put it in your calculator in parentheses. Okay, so then for number 3, so far all of our answers have come out nice, which is good. So then for this one, I have negative 1 minus a negative 1 squared plus, then I have negative 3 minus negative 11 squared. So this ends up being 0 squared plus 8 squared, or the square root of 64, or 8. This one is 0 minus 0 squared plus 12 minus 3 squared. So that's just 0 squared plus 9 squared, or the square root of 81, or 9. Okay, turn the page. Okay. So again, a lot of repetition on this because you guys need a lot of practice with the distance formula. So this one would just be the square root of negative 2 minus 6 squared plus 4 minus a negative 2 squared. So negative 2 minus a negative 6 is negative 8. 4 plus 2 is 6. So this is the square root of 64 plus 36. Or the square root of 100, or 10. Okay, for number 6, square root of 5 minus 12 squared plus 12 minus a negative 12 squared. So that would be negative 7 squared plus 24 squared, which would be 49 plus 576, and that would be 625, and then if you took the square root of that, you get 25. Okay, number 7, same thing. I have 5 minus 2 squared plus 9 minus 3 squared. So that is 3 squared plus 6 squared, or 9 plus 36, or the square root of 45. Now the square root of 45 is not, so 45 is not a perfect square. So when you take the square root of it, you're going to have to round. So we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So you end up getting 6.7 to the nearest tenth. Okay, and I believe the same thing kind of happens for number 8 if you tried it. So we have negative 3 minus negative 8 squared plus negative 10 minus negative 4 squared. That's going to be 5 squared plus negative 6 squared, or 25 plus 36, which is the square root of 61. So that's approximately 7.8. Okay, so then the last page, since we have our graphs, we're going to do this one with Pythagorean theorem, kind of like how we did on the opening exercise. So what you guys want to do is you're going to box it in as a right triangle. And by the way, on your guys' assessment for this week, I tell you that you can either do Pythagorean theorem or you can do it the other way, just by doing the distance formula. Either way, you get the distance formula, so if that's easier for you, go for it. So this length on this side's 1. The length going this way is 9. So I would do 1 squared plus 9 squared is x squared. So 1 plus 81 is x squared, or 82 is x squared. Now, again, it says to round to the nearest 10th, so you get 9.1 when you guys round. Okay, same thing for this one, box it in. By the way, it doesn't matter if I boxed it up high or down low. You get the same dimensions for the triangle anyways. So it's 7 by 6. So you would do 7 squared plus 6 squared is x squared. 7 squared is 49. 6 squared is 36. Add those together, you get 85. And then when you square root it, you end up getting 9.2 is approximately x. So then for the last two, what I wanted you guys to get out of the last two was just to count it. So if you just count squares, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, you just count. And you end up getting 4. Okay, so this one, if I count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just count it. And that is 6. Okay, and that's it.